What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Dominic Rich, and I'm back to talk about the Concacaf World Cup qualifiers for Qatar 2022. As you can see, I'm not home. I'm currently on a 2-day vacation, and as you can see, the hotel in the background. There's a pool in front of me, but the angle wasn't so nice in terms of the lighting and everything. So here I am to talk about the wrap-up of round one, and we would move into the second phase where there's only 6 teams left in the preliminary rounds, and 3 of those teams will join the 5 teams already in the octagonal. So 34 teams in CONCACAF, 29 took part in the previous rounds, which is round 1 and round 2, and it will be narrowed down to 3. I really like this format because it somewhat give the teams outside of the so-called hex, because it used to be a hex. It gives those teams a chance to actually get in and have a better chance of qualifying for the World Cup. So the teams waiting in the octagonal are the USA, Mexico, Costa Rica, Honduras, and Jamaica. And those teams are some of the best teams in CONCACAF at the moment. We've just seen Honduras, USA, Mexico, and Costa Rica on display in the Nations League final, and damn, were we treated. So out of the 29 teams that played in round 1, as I said, only 6 remain. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be reacting to the last round of games. Well, the games that actually played yesterday, because I already made a video talking about the previous matches. Already took care of that, rounded up everything prior to that. So I'll only be focusing on the games that were played on a Tuesday. What date was Tuesday? I can't even remember the date. Was it the 8th? I think. I can't remember. Pardon me. My mind is all over the place right about now. But let's start with Group A. In Group A, El Salvador came out eventual winners of that group on 10 points. I think I did predict El Salvador to top the group, and they should. El Salvador, baby. Guys, I actually went to Burlington's, I think it was the day before yesterday, and I saw this one, and I said, I gots to have it. I actually went in there a couple weeks ago and saw this guy with one of these, and I was like, damn, I missed it. But when I saw it, I was like, I gotta pick it up. So big up to anybody from El Salvador watching this right now. I had to pick this jersey up, and it's authentic, and you know, I said, gotta have it, man. Would be a nice addition to my collection. So all the best to El Salvador, who goes on to the next round. And we'll get to the next round. We'll get to the next round where we will talk a little bit more and go in depth. But in this group, El Salvador topped the group 10 points with 3 wins and a draw. So they scored 13 goals, only conceded 1. So that's quite impressive, though. So teams in the octagonal, look out for El Salvador. They're coming. They're not playing any games. Montserrat, who I think is one of the most improved teams in CONCACAF, or maybe in world football, they play second in the group. So if there was actually something for second, they would have actually benefited from that. But this time around, second gets nothing. And they got 8 points, failing to lose as well. 2 wins and 2 draws. So big up to Montserrat, man. They're on the up. A tiny nation with a big volcano on it. They're doing pretty well. Antigua and Barbuda third with 7 points. That was very close. Grenada fourth. Very disappointed in Grenada. I expected them to do a lot better after what they did in the Nations League and qualifying for the next Gold Cup tournament and all. But I don't know. Seems like they regressed. Maybe they suffered from the whole COVID-19 setback in 2020. And the U.S. Virgin Islands at the bottom without a point. So in the games yesterday, Montserrat defeated Grenada 2-1. I'm not going to get into who scored and who didn't score and all of that right now. It's going to be a little bit too complicated for what I'm doing right now because I'm not at home. But Montserrat 2, Grenada 1, and El Salvador 3, Antigua and Barbuda 0. If Antigua picked up a win here, they would have been able to move on, but they failed to do so. And the favorites to move on in El Salvador definitely goes on to the next round. I will get to who El Salvador meets in just a second. So we are going to move on to the next group, which is Group B, this was the group that everybody was actually looking forward to. The Suriname fans hyped the team up, and I knew this from the get-go, that Canada were a more quality team than Suriname ever was, because I was just looking back at a Nations League fixture from 2019, only 2019, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, my nation, who just got battered 10-0 by Guatemala. I think it was a better team back then in 2019, but they beat Suriname 1-0. So when I told the Surinamese fans, like, you got to take it easy on this team, because this team has just been put together from, you know, a pool of players who play in the Dutch league. There's a few players who play in top leagues like the German Bundesliga, the Turkish Super League and all. And you can't put so much pressure on the boys. It's too early. The team has to gel. They have to be with each other for some time. And I think what they do in the Gold Cup will be the real test of you know, what this team is really made of. So in this group, Canada topped the group with a perfect 12 points. Suriname second with 9 points. And Canada only conceded 1 goal, by the way. So very good on their behalf. Bermuda third with 4 points. Aruba fourth with 3 points. And Cayman Islands with a solitary point, which they picked up yesterday in a 1-1 draw against Bermuda. So that was quite impressive. But what really impressed me is this Canadian team, because this was a crunch game. It was played on U.S. soil, and I was like, Canada, you got to be careful of this Surinamese team. No doubt they have talent, but on the night, they totally did not show up. The team that we saw, the very impressive team that we saw early in the tournament against Aruba, Cayman Islands, and against Bermuda, were nowhere to be found against Canada on the night. They got battered 4-0, courtesy of a goal by Alphonso Davies and a hat-trick by Jonathan David, the man who plays for Lille, the man who plays for the team that dethroned PSG last season. So when you talk about quality, Canada does have the quality. You see what I'm saying? So that was a quality prediction I made for Canada to actually move on to the next round, and for Suriname not to. For the Surinamese fans watching this, for the few watching this, because I know a lot of fans like to hype things up before games are played, and when the result comes out, they're nowhere to be found. I'm not seeing them in the comments or anything, but if you are in the comments, man, take it easy on the team. You guys had too much expectations from this team. I know you're hyped that you have Ryan Dunk and Geraldo Becker and all these guys, and Rich Ciano Haps and all these guys playing for you, you know what I mean? And Florian Joseph Zoon, you name it. But it was all a hype. You see what I'm saying? And for everybody who's been hyping up the Surinamese team and jumping on the Surinamese hype train, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to take it easy, man. Yeah, you see what I mean? You got to take it easy. It was all a facade. But I think Suriname has something very good building, and they should not abandon it because of their failure to qualify for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. They should continue to build on what they have here, and they have the Gold Cup next month, and they have other tournaments in the future. They should look to qualify for the 2026 World Cup, where there'll be a few more spots available after Mexico, the USA, and Canada won't be vying for any of those spots. So stay up, keep your chins up, Suriname. So very impressive by Canada, I must say that. Very, very impressive by John Herdman and his boys there. They scored 27 goals in the tournament, only conceded 1, picked up all 12 points, and very, very impressive. Canada are looking good for the octagonal, but we'll talk some more about that when we get into just a little discussion on round 2. So we move on to Group C, where Curacao, interestingly, went on to top this group, tied on 10 points with Guatemala. Cuba third with 6 points. My country, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, fourth with 3 points. And British Virgin Islands without a point, losing all 4 of their games. But to talk about this Curacao-Guatemala thing, man, yesterday these teams played to a 0-0 draw. And Cuba beat St. Vincent and the Grenadines. They played in Grenada. But 0-0 Curacao versus Guatemala. The fact that they only played each other once, you couldn't really do a head-to-head because both teams ended up with the same goal difference. But I think the deciding factor here was the amount of goals scored by Curacao, which was one more than Guatemala, where Curacao scored 15 goals. They conceded one, and Guatemala scored 14 and didn't concede a single goal in qualifiers. I think Guatemala should have went through, to be completely honest. Nothing against Curacao. I like Curacao, but Guatemala did not concede a goal. And I think they should have gone through. Was it determined by the result against the other teams in the group, or was it determined by the amount of goals scored? Because Curacao scored the most goals in 15. Guatemala beat Cuba 1-0. They beat Virgin Islands 3-0. And they beat St. Vincent 10-0. Curacao beat Cuba 2-1. You see that? Curacao beat St. Vincent 5-0. And Guatemala, they beat St. Vincent 10-0. Curacao beat Virgin Islands 8-0. Guatemala beat Virgin Islands 3-0. So I don't know how they came up with this. Seriously. It has to be on most goals scored. It gotta be. It gotta be. If anyone has any insight on that, let me know in the comment section down below. I'll appreciate it. But Curacao goes on. Hard luck to Guatemala. They fought hard. But I guess you needed to win on the night, man. You know what I'm saying? You needed to win. You didn't, and you pay the price out of World Cup qualifiers. So we move on to Group D, where we have Panama topping the group with 12 points, winning all 4 of their games. Very impressive. I have to give it to the Dominican Republic for coming in second here. They had a chance. They had a chance. If they had defeated Panama, they would have gone through. So that is very impressive in its own right. And they only lost 1 game against Panama. Barbados came in third with 5 points. Dominica with 4 points. And Anguilla at the bottom without a point. So Panama, the World Cup 2018 debutants, move on. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. Panama has been regressing somewhat. But it's good to see that they're actually progressing. And I'm seeing some of the familiar names from the 2018 World Cup phase, and it seems like the manager, I think his name is Thomas Christiansen, if I'm not mistaken, he actually, it seems like he reverted to using some of the more experienced players instead of experimental teams from the previous regimes. So pretty impressive by Panama, and they move on to the next round. It's going to be difficult, and we will get to the second phase pretty soon. We have 2 more groups to go through, where we have Group E with 4 teams, because St. Lucia dropped out of that group. Don't know if they would have made an actual difference, but Haiti topped the group with a perfect 9 points. Nicaragua second with 6 points. Belize third with 3 points, and Turks and Caicos at the bottom without a point. Haiti impressively did not concede a single goal, so very impressive. The teams who placed top were very, very impressive throughout the qualifiers. So in the games yesterday, we had, well, I did not talk about the games from Group D. Well, let me go back and just touch on that. Barbados and Dominica, they drew 1-1, and Panama 3-0 win over the Dominican Republic. So for the Group E games, Turks and Caicos lost to Haiti 10-0. That was previously, but Haiti beat Nicaragua 1-0, where they were only 1 game yesterday. Very impressive from Haiti. And I told the Nicaraguan fans that it's not happening for you. Haiti moves on to the next round. And the last group, Group F, where we have St. Kitts and Nevis impressively and surprisingly topping this group with 9 points. Trinidad and Tobago with 8 points. Very, very disappointed in what Trinidad did in this tournament. They actually did not lose a game, so they could look at that and not beat themselves up too much, but that's it for their World Cup qualifying campaign. Puerto Rico, 7 points. Very impressive again. The ordinary guy, if you're watching this, I saw you did mention that. This is impressive by Puerto Rico. 1 point behind Trinidad in 7. Guyana, who I am very, very disappointed in, they only picked up 3 points. and the Bahamas at the bottom with 1 point. For the matches yesterday, we had Puerto Rico beating the aforementioned Guyana, and Trinidad and Tobago beating St. Kitts and Nevis. So if Trinidad and Tobago just picked up something against the Bahamas or against Puerto Rico, they would have been through. But how are you freaking dropping points to these teams? And no disrespect to Puerto Rico and Bahamas, but Trinidad and Tobago were at the 2006 World Cup. They stopped the USA from qualifying in 2018. And you're losing to these minnows? Like, come on. You got to do better than that, Trinidad. You really got to do better than that. And guys, this is where we move into the last round of games. Well, the second round of games, not the last round. The last round will be the octagonal. But this is where we talk about the second round, guys. So we have Haiti coming up against Canada. That will be on Saturday, this coming Saturday, June 12th. St. Kitts and Nevis versus El Salvador, and Panama versus Curacao. They will be two-legged affairs. So if you mess up in the first leg, you have a chance in the second leg to do your thing. And Canada, Curacao, El Salvador hold the advantage here, seeing that they do play the second leg at their home stadium. Whether it's adapted or it's on home soil, they would have somewhat of an advantage knowing what they need in the final game here. So just a quick, look at these matches. I'm not going to talk about them too much because I want to take the time in another video to do this. I'm thinking about linking up with two of my friends to actually talk about this, give a more in-depth analysis and have another opinion or two. But Haiti versus Canada, guys, we saw this clash at the 2019 Gold Cup where Haiti impressively came back from, I think, 2-0 down to beat Canada 3-2. That was one of the best games of football I've ever seen in my life. So we have the rematch, and this is going to be really good. This time it's a two-legged affair. Haiti got the work cut out for them because this Canadian team, they are looking good with Jonathan David, Alphonso Davies, Mark Anthony Kay, and Co. There's a few players that I'm not too familiar with, but there's a player, I can't say his name properly, but he plays in the Portuguese league for Pacos Ferreira, and he's quite impressive. So Haiti versus Canada will be a spectacle. Canada, French-speaking nation, Haiti, French-speaking as well, even though they have that Creole. But it would be a very good one. So sac passe to all my Haitians, man. You know what I'm saying? And bonjour, ça va to my Canadians. So look, it's a French derby. Canada, Haiti. This is a good one. I'll talk about it some more. I want to go more in depth. I want to get some head-to-head on these teams. But this is good. St. Kitts and Nevis versus El Salvador here. Right about now, ES. They have the trump card here, and it's gonna be very tough for the Sugar Boys of St. Kitts and Nevis to actually get over El Salvador, the Central American nation. So El Salvador are ranked favorites right from the get-go. It will take a mammoth effort from St. Kitts and Nevis to get over this hurdle. They would need Romain Sawyers, who plays for West Bromwich Albion now in the championship again, to do something proper in the midfield. But from the midfield, it would be very difficult to control a game against a very determined El Salvador team, who are unlucky to miss out on the original hex, because in the original hexagonal, El Salvador were the 6th team, and there was a cutoff date in 2020. I think it was July 2020, where the top 6 teams that ended up in the hex, based on FIFA rankings, would have participated in the final stage of World Cup qualifiers. But what happened in 2020, that never transpired. So El Salvador dropped out of the elite, seeing that there was a tournament format change. But now they have a chance to get back in, and I think they have the best chance, the easiest path. No disrespect to St. Kitts and Nevis, but El Salvador do have the easiest path into the octagonal. And I'll talk about that some more. I think that video would come out tomorrow, late Thursday. So look for it, look for it, look for it. And the last one, 2018 World Cup debutants, Panama versus Curacao. I like what I see in this Curacao team, but it's gonna be a hell of a, it's gonna take a hell of an effort against Panama. Seriously. What are they called? The Canal Boys? This is gonna be rough. This is going to be rough for the Dutch-speaking nation, island nation of Curacao, who has been one of the most impressive teams in world football as of late. They have been on the up since 2017 when they won the final Caribbean championship. They are the last Caribbean kings, and they have been very, very good, making a deep run into the last Gold Cup as well. So with a very, very, very impressive team, I could see Curacao upending Panama, but I think this one is 50-50. I think the Haiti, Canada is about 60-40 in favor of Canada. The El Salvador Sin Kitts, I think, is about 80-20 in favor of El Salvador. And the Curacao, Panama right now, in my opinion, is a 50-50 affair. Seriously, I don't want to give away my predictions too much, but it doesn't really matter because I'll have the opinion of at least one other person, but I'm trying to get 3 people in the panel. I might look for a 4th, so let's see how that one works out. I see a mosquito flying around, so I don't want to get bitten. But guys, that's my thoughts for the first round of Concacaf World Cup qualifying, and I enjoyed following this. I didn't get to watch games because of, you know, the exclusivity of the games and all. I tried to watch the Canada Curacao the Canada Suriname last night, but it was behind a paywall. I live in America, and you know, I was like, whatever, man. I'm on vacation. I'm not gonna be here watching a football game right now and have my wife and my kid in the room and everything. You see what I'm saying? There's a place and time for everything. I had to wake up early to get this video out, so it's not really eating into my time, really. You see what I'm saying? So look, man, look. Hard luck to the Suriname fans. Congrats to the Canadian, and congrats to the Haitian and the Curacao fans, the El Salvadorian fans, and congratulations to the Sugar Boys of St. Kitts and Nevis. Guys, I'm your boy Dominic Rich. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe if you're new. Like the video if you like it. And until next time, peace out. Rich Squad. Peace.